You are listening to the Atlanta Real Estate Forum radio show, Around Atlanta edition, showcasing the best of Metro Atlanta, our communities, the attractions, and the special events that make Atlanta great. Welcome to our virtual town square.
Good morning and welcome back to Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio's Around Atlanta edition. I'm your host, Carol Morgan, and I'd like to give a special thanks to our 2022 show sponsor, New American Funding. It is because of them that this show is possible. Today's show features one of Atlanta's oldest attractions, which happens to be the final resting place of many famous Atlantans. So I'm looking forward to this conversation with Neale Nichols. He is the Senior Director of Capital Projects with Historic Oakland Foundation. Welcome to the show, Neale.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited. We've had Historic Oakland on several times in the past, but this will be a completely different conversation. So it's, forward looking and
Sure.
It's going to be fun. But before we jump into it, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, thanks again for having me. I'm not an Atlantan. I'm not even a Georgian. So I come here by way of Virginia. Been in town for about 8 years now, and Oakland was the first place that I landed when I got here. It helped me so much to connect with the city, with the community, learning the history of this place. Really, was a great welcome for me into the community here, and for my family as well. So my wife and daughters and I live in town, and we really love being here. And in my abundant free time, we also manage a grass-fed beef farm down in Palmetto. So we have lots going on.
Oh, well, that's a whole different side conversation. That's exciting.
Sure.
I guess a lot of people don't necessarily think of cemeteries as attractions, but that's certainly not the case with Oakland Cemetery. Give us kind of that 30,000 foot overview of Oakland Cemetery, and then,
Sure.
A little bit of information on the Historic Oakland Foundation as well.
Yeah, happy to. Always good to provide context. Oakland was founded, created by the city of Atlanta in 1850, when the city was really just a small community. I think, somewhere around 2,500 people. I'm sure somebody can correct me on that, but at any rate, a small community, but a growing one with a need for a municipal cemetery. At that point in time, and sort of in the later part of the 1800s as well, as the cemetery developed, there was a shift in the thinking of cemeteries in the country and internationally as well, thinking of them not as necessarily graveyards, but as cemeteries, which the word cemetery means resting place. I think that Victorians in particular were so confronted with death that they chose to think about it in a little bit of a different way, and so that idea of a celebration of life really came to be in that time, and that's really kind of what we have carried through here into the 21st century, and what Historic Oakland Foundation strives to do is to celebrate the lives of those Atlantans who are buried here, and to tell their stories, and to preserve what we have for the future. So we've been around for 45 years or so, 46 years, I guess, 1976. And our goal is to preserve, restore, enhance, and share Oakland Cemetery and its gifts with the community. And so we're really proud to be able to do that.
Yeah, and you guys do it very well. And you think about how much history is at Historic Oakland. It's a lot, and we can talk a little bit, I guess, about some of the famous people who are buried there.
Sure.
And just that whole Victorian, I don't know if you call it architecture when you're talking
Sure.
about tombstones, but
Yeah,
oh my
definitely.
gosh, they're just beautiful. And it's not something that you necessarily see today when somebody's buried, seeing this big, monument put up, but
Sure.
they're really impressive.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
yeah. And speaking of impressive, you recently launched the Living History Capital Campaign. You've got a goal of 12 million, which seems really lofty, but I understand you've already raised like 10.3.
Yeah, a little over 10.3. Yeah, this is our first capital campaign. We've done work, throughout the history, the last 46 years. We've sort of nibbled around the edges and are really proud of the work that we've done. But I'd say in the last 10 or so years, we've been on an arc where we're really expanding what we do, not only with restoration and preservation and gardening on the grounds, but with the programming elements. And so this campaign is, it's designed to catapult us into that next level, and it'll include some very significant projects on the grounds, on some buildings, and it's really aimed at building on the good work that we've done and preparing us to better serve the families that are involved at Oakland, the people who come to visit Oakland, school groups, things like that, as we look towards the next 40 or 50 years.
Yeah. Well, and I guess you mentioned how the campaign is going to triple the rate of investment in the cemetery.
Sure.
So, we can kind of talk about that as we talk through some of the individual components. And again, it's pretty impressive. I know one of the components is a new visitor center, which will be outside Oakland's gate. Talk a little bit about that and why outside the gate.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, outside the gates for the plain and simple reason that we just don't have any room inside the gates anymore. Our current visitor center, and really for the last 40 or so years has been here in the bell tower, the building I'm sitting in right now. It's an 1899 building, and we can talk about this project as well. But essentially we've outgrown the space, the programming that we do now, the school groups that we serve. This is a pretty small building, and I'm in our largest space here, where you could probably comfortably have 25 people or so.
Wow. Yeah.
So, when we have, big school groups or large tours, or if we're trying to do an author talk or something like that, we just don't have the space. And, additionally, we wanted to be able to put some really necessary, funding into this building. It's a special place that we want to care for. But, the new visitor center will be about a 10,000 square foot space. It will it'll house the gift shop and sort of the first stop for our visitors in terms of orientation, where they can buy maps and get information about descendants and that sort of thing. We'll have a large, flexible, rentable kind of community space on the second floor with a great view looking down into the cemetery. And we know that'll get a lot of use from K-12 groups and college groups and others who want to come and gather at Oakland, but just can't really do that on the bad weather days.
Right.
It's great to be outside here on good weather days, but it's Atlanta and it's unpredictable, and having a really great indoor space for people to be able to gather and learn and have community events is really important to us. And so of course our offices will be moved out there as well. We've as we've expanded the foundation's work, we've of course expanded our staff and hired folks that can better serve the community, and so we're excited to get a little bit more space for ourselves as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, if it being outside the gate, did you need to purchase land, or will you need to purchase land?
No, that's a great question. So there's a couple of parcels outside the gates that are owned by the city of Atlanta. Several years back, Oakland Foundation bought an additional parcel that adjoins some of that land, looking towards the future. And so we're going to be building on that, as well as some of the current city-owned land, which is serves as parking for the visitor center. So really important to know. I know everybody's always interested in this question. We will of course have parking. We will be utilizing a portion of the existing parking lot, but we are building a new parking facility, and it'll be obviously much nicer and have lighting, and it'll be safe and secure, and have handicap spaces and all of that kind of stuff too. So we did purchase that land. That was a great strategic move for us to be able to do this work out there and to do it right. And ultimately, we're going to be adding close to 2 acres of parkland to the city's portfolio by constructing the visitor center and the surrounding grounds and gardens out there. So it's a really exciting thing.
That is super exciting. Well, I'm also excited about the rehabilitation of the iconic 1899 bell tower that you're apparently sitting in right now.
Right.
Talk about the history of that space and then the vision for the future.
Sure. Well, the building, as you noted, was built in 1899. It has served as sort of the administrative heart of the cemetery since then. Atlanta has always had a sexton who is an employee of the city, who has worked out of this building. Early in its days, it served as separate men's and women's mourning chapels, as was sort of the tradition in the time. It's been offices, it's been the gift shop, it has certainly served, for funerals and receptions and things like that as well along the way. And it's just such a great building with a ton of soul, sited in just the most unique place that you can have a building, right? I mean, we're surrounded on four sides by the beautiful gardens and grounds and monuments and mausoleums and whatnot. And, if I look out the window to my left here, wish you could see this view, I'm looking down at the skyline, and, there's just so much context and texture here. The building, it's an 1899 building. You can imagine that there's a lot of work that needs to be done just to keep it up, and it has been well loved through the years, I can tell you. And so we're really excited to bring over $1 million of investment into this space that will fix the issues that it has, but also be able to prepare it for the future. And the goal, of course, is for the public to be able to experience it even more than they do now. So, with offices and the gift shop and all these features currently in this space, we're going to relocate the heart of that and have, really a world-class interpretive space here, area for public to gather. There'll be rentable space with, the best views in the city. And it's just something that we think is going to help sustain this building and just look towards the future again and get more people in here to be able to experience firsthand one of Atlanta's coolest and oldest buildings.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. Well, you touched on something that I think a lot of people may not realize or may not think about. Again, you go back to that Victorian era, and not only did they have this just beautiful architecture, but they also planted and created beautiful gardens and beautiful outdoor spaces. Talk a little bit about the gardens at Oakland.
Well, it's certainly a special place, and if your listeners have never been to Oakland, I think you walk through one of our gates, and you're immediately transformed because of the gardens here, and we're doing such, I think, really great work with curating and managing them in partnership with the city, who's a great help with that too. But it's an interesting patchwork because every burial plot out here is privately owned. Now, of course, there are still many families that are involved and that have direct links and come out here and tend their own lots and whatnot. But by and large, the lots out here are abandoned, for lack of a better term. Families have moved on, and they're just not here or not able to take care of the spaces. And so our restoration teams come in and we get the hardscape elements and the monuments looking tip top, and then our gardeners come in and just transform it. And we try to do that differently for every individual lot, because that's the way that families would have done it in the Victorian era. Everybody had their own tastes that they brought to the table, and we just try our very best to take cues from the design of the lots with the hardscape. Maybe there's a certain flower that's carved into a headstone. Maybe that's a cue for us to plant that variety. And anyway, it's a lot of fun, and it's certainly a beautiful and inspiring place. And coming here in March and April is a really, really special time. So I definitely encourage everybody who's listening to come down and check it out while everything's in bloom.
Yeah, everything's in bloom, and Atlanta will be turning green, and you'll have those fantastic views.
Oh yeah.
So, well, your largest restoration is the restoration and preservation of Oakland's East Hill. So talk about that area. What all is involved there? I know that's an area that hasn't really been tackled in the past, and it's quite expansive.
Well, sure. I mean, our bread and butter as an organization is, restoring the grounds and maintaining the landscape and doing those enhancements. That was kind of why we were founded. And that's always such an important part of what we do here is, again, sort of tending to the grave sites and honoring those who've gone before us. And so the East Hill is it's a 6-acre area of the cemetery located at the southeast corner of the cemetery. So it's at the intersection of Memorial and Boulevard. We in fact, as a part of this restoration, put in the East Gate a couple of years back, and that has been just such a great amenity and so rewarding to see so many people coming and going from there and bringing them into a part of the cemetery that really was hard to get to. The other gates that existed before that are really sort of towards the west side of the cemetery, and it's 48 acres. It's a pretty good walk to get all the way through. but all the way down here in the east gate, in the southeast corner area, with the work we're doing, we're just seeing so many people coming through and appreciating the effort that we're putting in. And the great thing too is that we've got more opportunities to tell those stories of the people who are buried there in the East Hill. And it's just it's an important project for us. It's challenging for a lot of reasons. The topography is it's probably got the most kind of up and down with hills over there, so that puts a lot of challenges with us in terms of retaining walls and water and things like that. But it's more work than we have done previously. You mentioned tripling the rate of restoration. We prior to this campaign, we're restoring about an acre or so a year, and over the course of 3 years, we're doing these 6 acres. And a little bit more context for you there. Up until this point, throughout the history of the foundation, we had restored about 10 or 11 acres in the cemetery. And so here in just 3 years, we're going up to we're going to bring that up to 16 or 17 acres. So we feel like it's just a great impact that we're making here, and we want to keep that up when this campaign's done. We'd love to keep that momentum going and get the entire thing totally restored.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's very impressive, and it's impressive that you're so far through this goal. What are you, less than 2 million now?
Yeah, but little over 2 million.
Little million, yeah. That's pretty impressive. Do you have an end date for the campaign, or?
When we reach that goal.
When you reach the goal, yeah.
We hope that'll be sometime this year. We're marching along with the work that we have. We're still looking for opportunities. We've got a lot of opportunities for people to give and be involved at all different levels. So, we hope we'll get there pretty soon.
Yeah. Well, so for the people listening who might want to participate, how can they participate in the Living History campaign?
Yeah, sure. Well, there's a lot of different ways to donate, of course. The easiest way to do that is through our website. It's www.oaklandcemetery.com. There's a link at the bottom, should be at the bottom there, to donate, and you can do it that way. We've got a really exciting opportunity, though, our brick campaign. I don't know if you've heard about this, but as a part of our new visitor center, we're building a brick plaza, and there will be an opportunity for people to buy bricks out there, one for $250 or 2 for $450, where you can inscribe a personal message. If you care about Oakland, if you want to honor somebody who's here, or just show that you support us and be able to put your name and your message out there as a part of that project. That's a great way for people to get involved and and sort of make their own mark. Of course, we've got donor wall recognition. Obviously, that starts at the $10,000 level, where we'll recognize donors at that level and above. And so, we're excited about providing opportunities for people to show how much they care for Oakland, and we know that they do. We see the people come in here every day, and we've got some big fans, and we certainly appreciate them, and would love to get to everybody in the city of Atlanta and beyond, and have them show their support and love for this place too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, share a few of the famous people who are permanent residents of Oakland. Who are the most popular
Sure.
residents?
Yeah, well, our most noteworthy ones, the folks that I'd say people ask the most about are Bobby Jones, Maynard Jackson, and Margaret Mitchell. Obviously their importance, to the community can't be overstated. But we've got one of our newest residents, Kenny Rogers, is here, and we've had a lot of folks come in to pay tribute to Kenny and go down and visit his site. So there's a whole lot of really interesting folks here, and just so many different stories that are out there, and we just love sharing them all. But those are certainly some of our more popular visitors.
those are great stories. Well, what's coming up this spring? Any events that you want to make sure that everyone's aware of?
Oh, definitely. Well, we've got a plant sale coming up, our spring plant sale. That's going to be April. I think it's April 8th or somewhere in the first part of April. It has become really kind of an event in its own right. We sell tickets or reserve time basically ahead of time, and give people an opportunity to come in and pick out some really cool stuff that we handpick. There are things that you're not going to be able to get at your garden, your normal garden centers. So it's a lot of fun. So if you're an avid gardener, or even if you're a novice, come out and we'll help you pick out some things and tell you how to take care of them. And then our annual art event, Illumine, is going to be later in April. And that's just a really special time that'll run from April 21st to May 1st. Evening tours, you can of course come in the day too, but seeing Oakland in a different light, as the name might suggest. Illumine referencing light, and it's a special thing that we've curated. We've got a great team of artists who work on it, and it's again just a special time to come see the cemetery. So that'll be coming up in April too.
Yeah, that'll be fun too. Well, I always love the spring plant sales. I suppose there'll be some heirloom versions of plants there that you just really can't get anywhere else. And
absolutely, yeah,
things that are happy in the South, which is always nice. So
for sure.
Yeah, well, awesome. I'm gonna have to mark my calendar and make sure I come to that, because I
Please
always
do.
like to have fun things in my garden. Well, for our listeners, how do they get more information on Historic Oakland Foundation and Oakland Cemetery, and find out more about what's going on?
Yeah, well, our website is the best place to go, oaklandcemetery.com. Of course, people are welcome to follow us on social media. We've got a great Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all that good stuff. And ultimately, I think the best way to be kept up to date on information is to sign up for our newsletter, which you can do through the website, and that'll get you anything about the tours and updates on the capital campaign. All of that stuff will be sent through the newsletter. So that's the best way. But come out and see us. And we've got tour guides out here. We've got great volunteers working in the gift shop, and we want people to come out and talk to us here. We love every opportunity to get face to face with people. Of course, socially distant as necessary here, but we're just excited to be able to be doing this work and bringing it to the community, and hope that everybody will appreciate the impact that we're going to make here.
Well, and it's a great opportunity to get outside, explore history, see some beautiful plants, enjoy the architecture of a cemetery, both all those monuments as well as the hardscape. So, all right. So Atlantans, go visit. It's time to visit. I think that we're pretty bad in Atlanta. If you were to poll Atlantans on how many of our top 10 attractions they've been to see, I bet that it's maybe 2 or 3. So sometimes people can feel, uncomfortable coming to a cemetery, but I promise you, if you come out here one time, you will get it, and you'll come back. That's just what happens. It's a special place. Absolutely.
So definitely come out and visit us.
Very good. Well, that wraps this week's Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio's Around Atlanta edition. I'd like to thank Neale Nichols, the Senior Director of Capital Projects with the Historic Oakland Foundation, for joining me in studio today. So thanks, Neale. On behalf of our show sponsor, New American Funding, I'm your host, Carol Morgan. If you enjoyed today's show, we would love a positive rating and review on iTunes. You can also subscribe to our show on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify, and many of our episodes are available on YouTube. So if you want more information on how you can participate on Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio, then contact me at carol@denhammarketing.com. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you right here again for our next episode.
Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio is made possible by Denham Marketing, the publisher of Atlanta Real Estate Forum, Atlanta's favorite source for real estate and home building news. Denham Marketing is a comfortable fit, like your favorite pair of jeans. Denham Marketing tailors marketing strategies to meet your specific needs and niche. Try them on for size. They will work to create a perfect fit for your company's marketing program. Call them at 770-383-3360 or send an email to info@denhammarketing.com. For more information on Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio or to inquire about being a guest, contact info@atlantarealestateforum.com. Check out the radio show by visiting atlantarealestateforum.com or by listening to the show on your favorite podcast app. And if you enjoyed today's broadcast, we'd sure appreciate a rating and review on iTunes. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next time on Atlanta Real Estate Forum Radio.